What kind of legacy is he going to be able to leave? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to The Bourne Legacy, the fourth and penultimate movie in this series, at least so far. I don't know what to expect from this. I don't know what we're going to get going into this, but the title is interesting to me because this comes after Jason Bourne. I forgot his real name at the moment. This comes after he figured out most of his past and like leading into how he became what he was. He was also publicly freed by the deputy director getting all this information out, getting her superiors arrested, etc. And now we go into a movie all about, I guess, legacy, which usually means like what he's gonna, like, I guess, leave for the future. Now I know the next one after this is just called Jason Bourne, so that's interesting to me for what this is going to mean. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to expect with this. I don't know what's like going to be covered. I don't know if like we're gonna maybe find out more about his past or something. Like maybe we'll find out like there is maybe legacy is gonna refer to less of like a family legacy, more of something like a how do I put it? Like maybe like this program, like we know it was restarted with the last one. We know they had been working on restarting it. Maybe like we'll touch on like a newer generation of people like this that were like secretly being brainwashed into this program, and Jason's gonna have to deal with the repercussions of that. Maybe having to deal with like the idea that they were trained off of information gathered from his work, and that's where the legacy part comes in. I could see that because again, it set up the idea of that in the last movie, so it's very possible that's the route they could be heading. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't know anything about these, like I've said before. I'm going into these as blind as possible. Like I've said before, the Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne line is like the only thing I've known about these movies, and besides the general basic synopsis or idea, not even just the synopsis, but the general idea of it. There's so much about these I didn't know, so much I hadn't really been expecting. But this is the first one that was that came out in the 2010s. I believe this came out in 2012, if I remember reading right. And so I'm wondering if that's going to herald kind of a change in how the filmmaking is done, because that's the one thing that I've still had an issue with throughout all of these, even with the last one, which was the best. It still had the issue of the filmmaking, specifically the camera work, not being that great. Um, the camera work, especially in regards to the constant shaky cam, the excessive cuts, was always like the weakest point of these movies. And especially with the last one, was definitely the weakest aspect of it, the only real bad aspect of it. So I'm hoping with like entering the kind of new generation of things, if they've finally worked on that. Of course, maybe that could just be me having too much hope as well. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see. We'll also see why this is titled The Bourne Legacy, and I guess hope for the best. So let's get into this and see what this movie has in store for us. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked this up because I was confused. Apparently, Bourne Ultimatum was originally supposed to be the final film. It was just supposed to be a trilogy. But they ended up deciding to work on another film. However, Matt Damon decided not to return, specifically because the director wasn't going to be the same director as before. And so instead, they created this original character who wasn't in the books of Aaron Cross and made sort of this companion story that takes place during the same time as Ultimatum. The events take place during that same time frame. And while Jason Bourne is mentioned many times in the film, it in no way is about him. And this is where they fucked up. Because trying to do a Bourne movie without Jason Bourne actually in it, and just starring a completely original story and character and everything, just did not work, in my opinion. This didn't feel like a Bourne film. And honestly, even if you were to take away any and all connections to Jason Bourne, I just don't think this was that good. It was overly long, this being the longest of the Bourne films so far at just over 2 hours. It was overly stuffed. There were way too many characters trying to be focused on, and none of them I feel like really got enough attention. Like, they had too many big names in it. They were trying to do way too much, and it just felt like it was overcrowded. It didn't feel focused. And after the last movie was had finally really gotten that down, that's especially jarring. Because Bourne Ultimatum got down the pacing, the focus, the handling of the story. And so going to this film after that, it's just this is a jumbled mess. On top of that, I'm sorry, I don't like Jeremy Renner as an actor. I honestly, I've heard some really negative stuff about him as a person too, but this is just about as an actor. I don't think he's that good. He tries to put on this charming, everyman kind of personality, but he just fails at it, in my opinion. He feels like a very self-righteous rich person trying to pretend to be an everyman. And it's not believable. He's not believable in a role like this. And honestly, I think his acting is just okay. Just generally his acting. He's not the worst actor I've seen by any means, but he's not great. Matt Damon's a lot better, honestly. And I understand that he's in this, his character is from this program that's supposed to have where these guys are more emotional. They have more of that emotional connection rather than having that taken away with the what's it called? Behavioral modification of Treadstone and everything. Outcome, it's they get to keep emotions, they get to keep their personality and everything. and they're just genetically enhanced. Which is like a fine idea, but you just chose the wrong actor for this. He was not a good choice here. And it's just like, I just don't get the appeal in Jeremy Renner. I don't see it. But you did have some really good actors here. And the funny thing is, there's one actor in this who I think would have been perfect for the lead role here, as the character of Aaron Cross. And I think would have actually made this movie a lot better. And that's Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac played some random outcome agent who was there for, what, not even 10 minutes? He would have been so much better in the lead role. Oscar Isaac is a fantastic actor who has a lot of range. And I genuinely think that he could have pulled off this type of character extremely well. And it's like if he and Jeremy Renner had switched roles, I think this movie would have been a lot better. But as it was, it just didn't work for me. And it's not even just that, though. That's not the only issue, but it would have been a lot better if that change was made. Another issue I had with it, though, is that, like I said, there's just way too goddamn much happening. They try to balance out the story of this with also tying it into Bourne Ultimatum in terms of the timeline. They try to have, like, what seems at base level would be a simple story. It's like they're going to Manila to get him viraled into this this enhancement. But it's like you have all of these different levels that they're trying to do. You have all these different characters that they're trying to tie in. And it just feels like too much. Like oh my god, names are escaping right now. Give me a second. Give me a second. You have Edward Norton's character here. I feel like he almost didn't feel entirely necessary. You also had Dennis Boutsicaris' character, Terrence. Like, he could have probably you didn't need both of them. Neither of them felt like full characters because they felt like they were trying to steal each other's spotlight. Having the stuff with, like, Dr. Hirsch and Pam and everything in here, completely unnecessary, and it just took away from the movie. Vosen as well, it's like, you have these characters from Bourne Ultimatum to keep continuously remind you that this takes place during the same time. You could have mentioned that once and been done with it. Have actual more time to focus on the other characters. Like, there's just so much that feels like there could have been more to it, but because it's trying to juggle all these different plots, it's like, again, nothing really gives enough time, and all these different characters, plus it's just constantly skipping around, especially like in the first half an hour. You're going from, the stuff with the CIA, and then suddenly, like, not even a minute later, it'll just cut back to Aaron in the mountains, just climbing through the mountains. A minute later, cuts back to the CIA. A minute later, cut back to Aaron. And it's just like, stick on something for a second. And I mean, this did have the issue of, like, the constant cuts and everything, but that's ridiculous. That's just entirely ridiculous at this point. The action sequences also felt like there was a lot less put into them than in the last movie especially, but any of the last three movies. The action sequences felt very weak compared to the previous Bourne films. I didn't really care as much about what was going on. The storyline, I didn't care. Like, I mean, I cared to a point about Rachel Weisz. I can't think of the character's name right now. It was Doctor something. Dr. Marta Shearing. Like, and that's just because I like Rachel Weisz, to be fair. Like, I liked her in this, but then it's like she feels overshadowed by Jeremy Renner, and it's just I honestly wish it was just about her. You know? I kind of wish that it was just about her and Jeremy Renner had nothing to do with it. Because or again, if they had switched Jeremy Renner and Oscar Isaac's roles and had him play Aaron, that would have been better too. But it's just like there's also no chemistry. Yet at the end, I guess they're supposed to be together. I mean, it wasn't as directly like obvious as like with Jason and Marie, but it's like it felt like they were still together by the end. Um, Honestly, you could, if you wanted to do a spin-off or something, just have it be something about Nikki. Like, I would have taken that well over this. I didn't care. That's the worst part. And the fact that this is the longest of these movies and I'm just sitting there waiting for it to be over. Like, it was like around an hour and a half I started to like noticing the time, and it's just like, oh, it's still going. And I actually had to look on the player on VLC just to see how much time was left. I'm like, wait, this is that long? I didn't know when I started this that this was that long. With the credits, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. I did not know that when I started recording. But I'm just, like I said, I'm just watching this and it's just like, I just don't care. I will tell you, the best scene or sequence or whatever, however you want to word it, was at Marta's house. When the psychologist, Dr. Connie, came in, I remember her name because it's my name. When they came in, that sequence was good. I will give it that. But that's because it mostly did not include Jeremy Renner, for one, until like pretty much the action part of the sequence came in at the end. And also, it was good because there was actual tension there. It's the only part that I felt like really had actual tension and interest. Honestly, like I said, if you made Marta the main character instead, have it be all about her and just take out Aaron Cross completely, I would have been so much more invested in this because I was more invested in her character anyway. Like the scene that happened at the lab with the other guy being like reprogrammed basically to go into that murder suicide. It's like I was like more interested in that. And if we had cut out all the stuff with Renner, they could have had time to build up Marta and Don, I think his name was, to build up their relationship more. We saw one scene with them. One scene, a single scene. And then the next time we see him, he's shooting the place up. If they had given us a little more, that could have been like phenomenal. But instead, they just, we don't really have too much of a reason to care about him suddenly going crazy. They didn't really give us enough time to really like get invested. And then it's like her friend, Marta's friend Joseph at the Manila factory. It's like, okay, is this supposed to mean something to us? Are we supposed to care about this like connection that they have? Because I didn't. And I would actually say the best moment in this, in terms of just acting performance alone, was actually when Rachel Weisz did that scream, telling Aaron to run, when the cops were closing in on him and he just, didn't know. That scream was really good. That was like just a really good scream. She nailed that. That was believable too. But again, like I said, I like Rachel Weisz. She's a great actress, so I'm not hugely surprised at that. But that was a performance. That was visceral. um, and I think that is the best moment of acting in this, honestly. And don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the other actors in this, like Edward Norton. Like he's fantastic, and he's good at playing an antagonist. Like he was amazing in Glass Onion. He was a phenomenal piece of shit in that. But I don't know. It's just I felt like he just felt a little unnecessary. He just didn't add anything to this movie. I feel. He didn't have the presence that like the CIA antagonists from previous films have had. He didn't feel as like big of a deal as them, and it sucks because it's like it feels like a waste of his genuine talents. Um, but yeah, it's like this movie just felt not only unnecessary but poorly conceived and just handled. But apparently, the next film, from what I read, is more of a direct sequel to Ultimatum. It does. Jason Bourne is back. Matt Damon and the previous director have returned. So we're going to be getting hopefully back on track, and hopefully it ends up being just as good, if not even better, than Ultimatum. Because this was like an absolute mistake. This movie. This was a waste of time, and like there's almost a part of me that wishes I knew going into this that this movie was like a random spin-off that had nothing to do with Jason Bourne, because at that point I probably would have skipped it. Or at least I would have been prepared. I wouldn't have skipped it. I was joking. I was still going to do all 5 Bourne movies this week either way, but I would have at least been prepared and ready for that. Instead, I'm just caught off guard, and I don't even realize until like what 15, 20 minutes in, it's like, oh, we're not getting Bourne. This is just an entirely different thing. And the fact that this is like called, why is this called the Bourne Legacy? Is it like because like things are connecting to Ultimatum? Like this is supposed to be some kind of like legacy fallout from the events of Ultimatum, because everything is being shut down with the program because of everything leaking in the last movie. And so it's like it's kind of connecting through that, and that's why it's like the legacy of the first 3 movies are kind of like being presented towards a different protagonist, a different storyline now. That's the only thing I can think of, because like this movie shouldn't have even been named for that. Like, why are you calling this a Bourne movie when it's not about Bourne in any way? Again, he's mentioned, the things he did in Ultimatum are directly brought up, but it's not in any way about him. Honestly, you could remove almost every mention of Jason Bourne in this, and it wouldn't really change much of anything about the plot of the film in any noticeable way. That's how little that actually mattered to this film. And that's sad. It's never fun when you watch a movie and end up disliking it. It's something I never really want to see, but especially because I've been enjoying these movies. I've been enjoying this series. Progressively more and more, each one has been better than last, and then you just like fall off like this. It's like you have the first 3 movies, all of which are good, but the third one is especially great, and then it just drops off suddenly. And now you have this movie that's not really that good, and also just completely takes a left turn switch in story out of nowhere. And again, I will say, I will once again say, if I had been prepared for it, I probably would have had a better reaction. But the surprise, I think, actually hurt my view on this even more. And I know that, like, when this came out, I'm sure that it was known, it was advertised that it was going to be a different character. Because if they advertised this as being about Jason Bourne still, wow, that would have been a huge fuck up. But no, I'm sure they advertised it about being Aaron Cross and being kind of like this spin off in a way. Um, but it just, I didn't know that. Because like I said in the pre thoughts here, I'm going into these movies as blind as possible. I only know like the basic concept of the Bourne films, and I know like memes that have come from them. That is what I that is what I knew going into this series at the start of the week. I didn't know anything about what the plot was about, anything what any of these movies specifically focused on. I had no idea that this was going to be the case with this film. I had no idea this was a spin-off. In the same way that I had no idea that the first movie uh, was about, Jason Bourne having amnesia and trying to get his memory back and everything. I had no idea that was part of this in any way, shape, or form. And so it just feels. And then on top of it, at the ending, like they're showing little bits from the case, from the trial that we didn't see last time, and they're kind of implying that it's not going well for Pam, that it's kind of going in Vosen's favor, and it's like, oh, so you're not only going to give us a random spin-off that amounts to nothing, but then you're also going to talk about like the biggest victory from the last movie meaning nothing, and that it's ending out on a very it's actually like going very negatively for Pam and for, justice. Fuck that shit. Like, you're really gonna sit here and like fuck over that like good, exciting, like positive outcome to the last movie, and just completely like erase that and say, oh, it's not going well after all. Vosen's doing extremely well in court and like proving his side. And it's just like, fuck off with that shit. It's like this movie is just a disappointment. It's a disappointment. I don't believe it works. It's not entertaining. It's not fun to watch. It feels like, honestly, one of those rip-off movies. You know when studios will make movies that are very clearly rip-offs of others? Um and this doesn't feel like one of the good ones. This isn't Critters. Like Critters is very clearly a rip-off of Gremlins and other movies like that. This is not like that. This is one of the bad rip-offs. This is one of the ones that like almost word for word copy the name, just make it legally distinct, and like have no soul to it. That's what this movie feels like. A soulless, shameless ripoff of the Bourne series. And I'm not about it. Like, this is easily the worst of the series so far. And I really, really hope that we get back on track with the next and final one, Jason Bourne. Final for the moment, at least. There's, like, I guess been talks of the series continuing, but nothing has been, like, confirmed as of now. And I think Jason Bourne came out, like, what, 2016, 2017? And so, it's been, like, only a couple years short of a decade since that came out. So, it's been a while. And Matt Damon's getting up there in age, so maybe there just won't be any more. I don't know. For all I know, the Jason Bourne movie might actually wrap things up pretty well. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But for the time being, thank you all so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below, and please do not spoil me. This is mostly for those who are watching as this comes out. Do not spoil me on the Jason Bourne movie before I see it tomorrow. Afterwards, it's like, I don't care because I'll have already seen it. But yeah, don't like leave any comments the day this is coming out and everything that spoils me to that. If you're watching this on like Friday evening, or even, well beyond that at some point, then I'll have already seen Jason Bourne. So, but yeah, either way, thank you so much as always for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.